Today I'll show you 3 ways to repair a damaged plastic container. In all cases, I'll be using materials that you can find in most hardware stores. For the first method, you'll need a hot glue gun, plastic clamps, metal mesh, and a soldering iron. I cut the metal mesh slightly larger than the hole, heat up the soldering iron, and start soldering the mesh to the plastic. In my case, I needed to place a wooden block on the reverse side to prevent the edges from bending or deforming due to the heat. I didn't do that, as you can see from the results. First, you need to pour a layer of glue, and then sprinkle graphite powder on top. If you do it the other way around, starting with sprinkling a lot of powder and then trying to pour glue, the glue will roll off, and it won't mix well with the powder. Spread the glue evenly across the entire surface of the aluminum tape. Sprinkle the powder onto the glue. The amount of powder should be 3 to 4 times greater in volume than the glue. After a couple of minutes, you should gather all the powder to one side and repeat the process several times until you achieve the desired thickness of the layer. In reality, instead of graphite powder, you can use various substances. For example, baking soda, fine sand, wood ash powder, and so on. In my case, graphite powder has the color I need right away. During the bonding process, due to a chemical reaction, a small amount of smoke may be emitted. It's essential to ensure good ventilation in the area. I want to remind you to handle ethyl cyanoacrylate-based glue with caution, especially avoiding contact with the eyes. In this case, I will use epoxy resin to fill this hole. It's advisable to sand one side of the cut transparent PET for better adhesion with silicone sealant. Before applying the sealant, clean both surfaces with acetone or a degreaser. I do not recommend using any types of tape or adhesive instead of PET, as epoxy resin is likely to leak through them. I mix the resin with the hardener in a ratio of 10:1, adding graphite powder as a pigment. It's recommended to mix the resin in 2 containers. I mix it for about 2 to 3 minutes in the first plastic cup, then transfer it to the second one and mix for another 1 to 2 minutes. Carefully pour the resin onto the PET, leveling it with a wooden stick. After 5 minutes, you can remove any air bubbles using a gas torch or a lighter. Please note that when working with epoxy resin, it's essential to ventilate the room thoroughly while the resin is in liquid form. Once it has cured, it becomes completely harmless. You can check the results after 24 hours. In my opinion, the best method is the one with epoxy resin or adhesive and graphite powder. The method with the heat gun and metal mesh, in my view, appears to be less effective both in terms of appearance and practicality.